Welcome to the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. It supports the podcast and it doesn't cost you anything. Well, folks, bullish close of the week for Bitcoin. Bitcoin currently sitting at $63,873 at the time of recording, looking very bullish still. Ethereum also doing well. It's at $3,486. BNB at $415, Solana at $130, XRP just over 63 cents, Cardano looking very strong at 74 cents, Dogecoin still holding the number 9 spot on the market cap at 15 cents, Avalanche currently at $42. So we're looking bullish, guys, but I've been saying we do have to watch out for the bearish scenario that we may see a 20 to 30% pullback. I'm not saying that's guaranteed, but it's possible that could happen. However, Bitcoin seems to be ignoring that possibility. Right now on the daily chart looks very bullish. Here's what analyst Matthew Hyland had to say. Bitcoin weekly closes with major strength and completes its third highest weekly close in its history. Wow. Incredible performance from Bitcoin, folks. Here he also tweeted out that Bitcoin and ETH are pushing local highs. So we'll see. Maybe we hit a local top after we break through the all-time highs. Who knows, right? We have to be prepared for all scenarios. Now, here's an interesting fact, and this is a metric that has been around for multiple bull market cycles, and that is Bitcoin daily withdrawals challenge records as 2 billion leaves exchanges. So you may say, what does that have to do with anything? Well, if Bitcoin is leaving the exchanges, we've seen this in the bull markets, it's actually conducive to the price increase because people are not putting it on the exchanges to sell, right? I think that will happen as we hit near the euphoria peak of this market, as we've seen historically. And of course, a lot of Bitcoin is leaving because people are buying via the ETFs. We have been hearing that the OTC desks are running out of Bitcoin. The OTC, for those of you who don't know, is the over-the-counter desk where Bitcoin is sold, but it's not transacted on the open market. So it's not logged and it doesn't impact the price. Now, if you buy it from an exchange where it's in the open market and maybe you buy it in small increments, as MicroStrategy has disclosed they have done in the past, that's going to show up in the metric of Bitcoin being bought as well as leaving the exchanges. So interesting metric that's happening here. And if things play out like they have in the past, this is a good indication and conducive to higher prices. Now, well-known analyst Willy Woo said Bitcoin price will go past $125,000 minimum before the end of 2025, just from BlackRock and Fidelity clients if they rotate 3% exposure to Bitcoin. These are their most optimistic portfolio allocation recommendations. BlackRock, 84.9%, Fidelity, 3%. Now, he did give the total AUM for both BlackRock at 9.1 trillion, Fidelity at 4.2 trillion. So obviously they're not the only ones with the ETFs that are live, but they have the most capital, the most AUM. So I think a good amount is going to come into the ETFs, and we're still in the early innings. There's still the education and brand awareness being built with the IRAs and the wealth managers to introduce them to this new ETF, because many are not just going to jump into it and buy Bitcoin. They will need the education and feel comfortable. But the good thing is, the big brands that they're familiar with, like BlackRock, Fidelity, are the ones, participating. So I think we will see more buying of the Bitcoins through the ETFs as the year progresses. So exciting times ahead. And this is why, Bitcoin itself is ahead of schedule, because we're seeing record-breaking buying by the ETFs. I've said it before, this type of movement from Bitcoin usually happens post-halving. The history and the data shows that, but it's moving faster. I'm fine with that. If we can hit 100,000 plus this year, that would be amazing. I will start to take profits. I'm not selling all my Bitcoin, but I'll certainly start to take profits, and that would be a really nice return for me, as I'm sure for many of you. Now, as Bitcoin continues to rise, we've seen Bitcoin is the rising tide that lifts all boats. And unfortunately, it lifts crap. And we see the FTX FTT token is still on the market trading, still rising, even Bitcoin SV, even Terra Luna Classic. And I'm just like, how the hell are these tokens still trading? I tweeted about it. If anybody invests in these things, you deserve to get wrecked. I'm actually surprised, these things are still on CoinMarketCap, but it is what it is. Just be careful. I'm sharing this to alert the new people. Don't go invest in FTT or Terra Luna. Those are dead projects, part of massive scams and bankruptcies and all kinds of nonsense. So be careful out there, folks. Now, let's take a look at the social media trends from Santiment. Santiment is a great company that provides blockchain and crypto metrics and analytics. This data was updated 39 minutes ago. These are the top 10 tokens that are trending on social media, and it breaks down their positive sentiment, the neutral and negative sentiment. So first is Shiba Inu. We've been talking about meme coins have been popping off because the liquidity is flowing down from Bitcoin, when it cooled down to the altcoins and then it made its way to the meme coin. So Shiba Inu is getting overall good positive sentiment. Doge is second, of course, getting positive sentiment. Litecoin is seeing some movement here. Litecoin popping off. I have a little bit of Litecoin from back in the day. So the price is starting to move there. Smooth Love Potion. I've heard of this, but I don't know too much about it. FTM, which is Phantom, is popping off as well. Huge positive sentiment. Bitcoin Cash. It's at number 6 here. It is largely a negative sentiment at 51.76%. Bitcoin at number 7. You got Golem. I don't know what this is, but it's at number 8. You got Veracity at number 9 and Solana at number 10. So those are your top social media trending tokens, folks. Now, a quick word from our sponsor, and that is Uphold. Uphold is a great platform where you can buy Bitcoin and all the top altcoins. They have 260 plus cryptocurrencies. This is a platform I've been using for years, going back to 2018. I've interviewed the CEO, the CFO, and many representatives from the company. So I'm a big fan of the platform, and it's easy to use. You can also trade precious metals on here like gold, silver, palladium, platinum. They have stable coins, and they have support for many different fiat currencies, and they are available in over 150 countries. They're also very safe. They have their transparency reports and proof of reserves, so you can go verify all of this information. If you'd like to learn more about Uphold, check out the link in the description. Now, last week we spoke about Charles Hoskinson supporting John Deaton for Senate in his race against Senator Elizabeth Warren. And John was actually at ETH Denver, where Charles was, and a lot of the crypto industry. John was on stage talking about his campaign and looking for support from folks to donate and so forth. And as I've said, since the first day he announced his campaign, I donated to him. And here, Charles Hoskinson just tweeted out, I just donated the maximum amount allowed for a Deaton for Senate in his fight against Elizabeth Warren for Senate. We need people willing to take on the establishment against banks writing our laws and destroying the crypto industry. So John is getting massive support from across the industry. A lot of folks from different walks in the industry, right? Whether they're Bitcoin maximalists or not, they are supporting John. And this is why Elizabeth Warren is scared. There's a lot of capital here. The entire crypto industry is going to be behind John because Elizabeth Warren has taken the position, I hate crypto and I'm the leader of the anti-crypto army, right? She didn't remain a neutral party and say, hey, let's look at how we can regulate this better. She came out and said, this whole thing is crap and I'm building an anti-army against it. So she took the extremist route and now it's not going to work out for her. I think John has a strong chance of beating her. So great to see the industry coming together and taking her on. Now, Jake Tversky shared some additional thoughts on the Ethereum spot ETF. As you all know, this is a complex ETF, not as simple as the Bitcoin ETF because of the history of the SEC talking about Ethereum and it being a security or not. Ethereum, of course, has moved to proof of stake. And we'll see what Gary Gensler decides to do. Maybe he fights this in court again. And the deadline is May 23rd. So Jake said, I'm not saying for certain that the spot ETH ETF won't be approved by May 23rd. I'm just saying that the legal issues and policy environment in DC make denial or an SEC request to withdraw more likely than general sentiment suggests. He says BlackRock always wins is a lazy bull take. So there's people saying, oh, BlackRock wants it, they're going to get it. Look, there's some truth to that, right? but it's more complex, like I said, than the Bitcoin ETF. I think the Bitcoin ETF was just straightforward. It was just the SEC being arbitrary and capricious, as the court said. But the Ethereum situation is tricky. And here's the problem that Gary's trying to avoid. If he gives ETH the clarity and he approves the ETF, it will open the door for a lot more altcoins. And we know him and Elizabeth Warren are trying to stop as many of these altcoins and these projects from taking off. So ultimately, we're going to win here. The Ethereum ETF will be approved. It could be outside of Gensler's control, right? Maybe Biden administration decides to do a 180 here as the election's coming up and they want votes, or Biden loses and Gary Gensler gets replaced, obviously, and a new SEC chair comes in and takes care of all this stuff, right? We'll have to wait and see. There are no guarantees, but it'll be interesting if he does approve this. Maybe he doesn't want to lose in court again. But look, he's got Elizabeth Warren pulling his strings, and they're looking like they want to die on this hill. Like we're gonna go down with the ship, right? But it's not going to work out well for them, obviously. Now we got some interesting crypto hiring news. The IRS latest hires are actually some crypto industry colleagues and friends. So good to see some crypto people going to work in the government who understand the technology and who can help steer things in the right direction and maybe, help the government to not overreach and to do the wrong things here. So here, the Internal Revenue Service has two new executive advisors to help build out its service reporting, compliance, and enforcement programs for digital assets. Joining the team are Sololit Raj Mukherjee, the former global head of tax at Consensus, and Seth Wilkes, the former vice president of government relations at crypto tax software firm TaxBit. According to a LinkedIn post, Mukherjee and Wilkes have been longtime industry colleagues and friends. IRS Commissioner Daniel Werfel noted in a press release reviewed by Blockworks that the digital asset space was an evolving sector with major tax administration implications. Here's a quote. Pulling in expertise from the private sector to work with the IRS team is critical to successfully building the agency's efforts involving digital assets and helping us do it the right way that works well for everyone, Werfel said. That's a great statement, and I love it. Like I said, people who actually understand the technology in the industry, been here a while, going to help the IRS because, look, the tax man will come to collect, right? I hate taxes, as I'm sure many of you, especially capital gains tax. Look, I don't mind certain levels of taxes, but I think capital gain taxes is highway robbery. You take your already tax money, you invest it, and then you have to pay on your returns that you make. I mean, it's crazy, and the tax rate is pretty high, obviously. But great to see that they're going to help the IRS and to get some of these things right, because we've seen in the past the IRS and other government agencies have come out with ridiculous, outlandish suggestions, and then the industry has to fight back and sue them or do something because it's like it's not in alignment with the technology or the law. So this is good news, I think. Now, we got some news around Tether and Bitfinex here. In fact, tomorrow, folks, I'll be interviewing the CTO of Tether. So you don't want to miss that interview. It's going to come out this week. And I'm excited to speak with them because Tether is the largest stablecoin in the crypto industry. And, they've had a lot of scrutiny on them over the years, but I think they've really put their ship in the right order. And they're doing a lot of monthly attestations and so forth. So Wall Street Journal faces defamation lawsuit tied to Tether Bitfinex article. And this is regarding allegations made in an article published in 2023 describing illegal activities involving crypto firms Tether and Bitfinex. According to investigative platform Offshore Alert, Christopher Harborn and his company AML Global Ltd filed a lawsuit in Delaware Superior Court on February 28th against Dow Jones and Company, the journal's parent entity. Harborn is one of the shareholders of the stablecoin issuer Tether, with nearly 13% of the crypto firm. His stake is reportedly the outcome of Bitfinex's reimbursement plan following a hack in 2016, but he claims to hold no executive positions there. So this is interesting. And we've seen the Wall Street Journal publish false information with Elizabeth Warren about like the use of digital assets and crypto by Hamas. So we know the mainstream media, many of them are for sale and working with short sellers, working with people who just want to paint the industry in a negative light. So we'll see how this lawsuit goes. This will be a big win for Tether and even the industry, just highlighting the bias, the lies, and all the wrong things that the Wall Street Journal and other mainstream media outlets have been doing. Because look, if it's one thing, if you have facts and you have proof that something wrong went, then that's fine. Share the facts and the proof. But if you don't and you're engaging in defamation, I mean, you're going to get sued. You're going to get destroyed. So this is a case to certainly watch, and it could open up other lawsuits where the Wall Street Journal once again lying about certain data. Now, in the Elizabeth Warren Hamas usage data and so forth, they did make updates to their article about that, and but we'll see. Maybe some other lawsuits pop up. It's time to hold mainstream media accountable, and this is why we're seeing the rise of independent media. And look, the internet is helping almost everyone to be journalists, and where they're on the ground and they're hearing and they're seeing things, and it's different from what mainstream media is reporting. So a lot of things, a lot of layers to this, and we'll see how things progress. All right, folks, that's the news. Also, just a reminder, our other partner is VeChain. Be sure to check out VeChain. Go to vechain.org. It is one of the top layer one enterprise grade blockchains. Partner with Boston Consulting Group, BMW, Givenchy, PwC. They are building incredible Web3 apps and functionality for many enterprises, and they're fully scalable, doing great things. So if you'd like to learn more, visit vechain.org, link in the description. Thank you for watching and listening, and I'll talk to you all later.